first couple.
Thanks, Andy. First of all, I just wanted to ask you about the incident in the Arsenal-Wolves game last night with the head injuries. From a player's point of view, how concerning was it? And do you think it's time to have concussion substitutes in football?
Yeah, look, it's not nice to see. First and foremost, I wish Raul Jiminez, the best of luck in his recovery. I know firsthand how it can affect the Wolves players as well. So my thoughts are with them and their manager. Obviously I was involved in the Hull City-Chelsea game where Ryan Mason unfortunately got his bad injury, which he never recovered from. And I know how much it affected our squad as well as him and his family personally. So my thoughts and prayers are with them first and foremost. Secondly, heading's, a part of the game. And unfortunately that was a horrible collision. But I think, in terms of the protocols and everything that I've seen from my clubs, the doctors and the physios follow everything. And I'm sure the Wolves physio and doctor done, absolutely everything by the book and helped Raul straight away. But, I do believe, David Luiz obviously came off at half time as well because of the cut in his head. And, concussion subs would make sense. It's not a natural injury, getting concussion or whatever like that. And, for me and the players, I think it would make sense. But, hopefully that's maybe something that can get brought in. But it's a bit sad that, something this serious has to happen for it to be brought up in conversation. I think it should have been in the first place. But look, we'll wait and see in that. But like I said, my thoughts, straight away are not about concussion substitutions. It's about the thoughts and prayers of Raul and all his family, because it'll be a tough time for them, and I wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully we can see him on a football park very soon.
And from a player's point of view, with everything that's going on in the world at the moment, and the fact that you are playing in empty stadiums and the fixture calendar as it is, do you think we're asking too much of you as players? Are we expecting you to do too much?
Look, the schedule is hectic. It's not, there's no secret of that because of, COVID, and we had to kind of make up time and stuff. But, I don't think the schedule is, it's always going to be hectic. We knew that, and the schedule can't change because we need to get, all these games in and all the different competitions. So, we get our head around that. But I just think maybe we could, get a little bit more help from it. I think maybe, I think my manager's been probably the most vocal on it, but I know a lot of managers are maybe, crying out for, 5 substitutions or different things that can maybe help. I know that, in different leagues, it's, I know obviously up in Scotland, they've got 5 substitutions just now. And, I know by speaking to they boys, it makes a massive difference because their schedule's also hectic. And I just believe that we should be trying to help the players because, I don't know the exact percentage or the exact number, but, a lot more muscle injuries have happened this season. It seems every game that I watch on telly or every game I'm involved in, then somebody's going off injured with something. And, I think the Premier League is the best league in the world, but you want your best players on there and you want all squads to have their best team available and being able to compete for different things. And, we're maybe not seeing that as much just now because, players are unfortunately picking up muscle injuries. So I just think maybe we could get a little bit more help, but look, we'll crack on with it. We'll let that kind of get decided elsewhere. And as it stands, we'll prepare for a game every 3 days as it stands. And we'll try and be as fit and as healthy as possible.
Okay, Ian Kennedy, please.
Hi, Andy. Just on the game, you're up against one of the really big sides in the history of European football, but with so many players in the Premier League who come from all over the world, it's a world game now. Are the European games actually much different these days to the Premier League games?
Look, Ajax are a quality opposition. And like you said, we have a lot of foreign players in the Premier League now that you become more accustomed to playing against these types of players. So I think the difference between them both isn't as big as it maybe once was. But look, of course, it's a different style of play. They play in a different league and everything that goes along with it. And you don't know, their players inside out as much as you do the Premier League teams. But You know, like you said, we're playing one of the European giants tomorrow night. Their history is phenomenal, and their team just now is an excellent team. So we know we're in for a tough task tomorrow night, but we know what's at stake. You know, we know if we win, then we'll be through to the last 16, and that's always the aim. You know, we want to go far in this competition, and by doing so, we need to get through the group stages first and foremost, and we've got a chance to do that tomorrow night. So it's important we try and keep that in our minds and do everything we can to win this game and hopefully finish top of the group.
Okay, Carl Markham, please.
Andy.
Hi, Carl. You okay?
Yes, mate. You?
Yeah, good.
Just to go back on the injury front, I know you will get all the sports science information behind you when you're going into games, but do you ever feel like you can't, go at 100% in a game because of the injury threat and also because of the current state of injuries within the squad? You almost think you've got to hold something back and reserve something just in case.
No, I always go at 100%. You know, that's what, when it gets game day, I always, go 100%, of course. But, certain games you maybe need to adapt. For instance, Atalanta away, we adapted a wee bit that me and Trent had played a wee bit deeper and, a wee bit more inside than instead of us being the width that, maybe saved our legs a wee bit or, maybe didn't mean we were sprinting as much. So, and obviously we also get taken off that game because of how well we'd played and the game was finished. So look, you maybe do need to adapt as the season goes on or whatever, but not too much. You can't, the reason you're playing is because the way you play. So, you can't change everything and you can't change too much. So, like you said, the schedule isn't going to change. We know what games we've got coming up. We know what games are around the corner, and it's just about trying to prepare as best as possible for them, trying to keep us fit and healthy, trying to listen to the sports scientists, listen to your body, and trying to do everything right leading up to games. And so far, touch wood, but I've been okay and I've been fit, and hopefully that continues, because obviously the schedule's not going to get any easier, but hopefully I can stay fit as healthy as I am just now.
Okay, we're going to go to the last three questions here. So Dave Mallet to begin.
And Andy, you said you wonder when the people actually playing the game are going to get a say in obviously all this stuff that's happening this season. I wonder whether you would be able to explain a little what you mean by that and what it is particularly that you really would like to say. And I know that's kind of putting you on the spot a bit, but there are some really important issues which it's clear the players are not really even being consulted. So I just wonder whether you would be able to explain.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily the players and managers that are involved in the football just now, but I do believe that, maybe ex-professionals, ex-footballers, ex-managers, ex-referees should maybe be involved in some of the decision-making getting made just now. There's been, in the last maybe 18 months, 2 years, there's been a lot of change in the rules in England in particular. And, I think Kevin De Bruyne said it the other week that he wasn't sure of the rules of football anymore. And I think we can all kind of echo that. I think, it's just a wee bit uncertain just now. When VAR came in, we believed that there would be no grey areas. It would all be black and white. And I don't think we're quite getting that just now. So look, I think, I think there's a lot of improvements to be made. We knew we had to be patient with VAR and it wouldn't, just be perfect overnight, but we're now, 18 months down the line and still the same mistakes are being made. And, on Saturday, I've got no problem if, my tackle's a penalty. If the rules and the referees deem that as a penalty, then, I have no problem with it. But I also was watching the games yesterday and I seen two very similar instances on Marcus Rashford and Adama Traore that, went unpunished and looked very, very similar to what I'd done to Danny Welbeck, and both of them weren't a penalty and mine was. So for me, either all three have to be a penalty or all three aren't penalties. So, that's when we're getting a difference. And, I think it's frustrating for teams to see certain decisions in different games going against, and then they think it's very similar. So, I think that's where we're maybe struggling a wee bit. And we're just looking for, consistency. I think consistency is the best thing. And we believe we would get that with VAR, and we're maybe not getting it just now. And, hopefully that can come in time, because I think the game's crying out for it. And, too many games are passing by that, you're either watching on telly and, the people in the studios are still discussing referees' decisions, or still discussing what could have been and what couldn't have been. I didn't think that was possible after VAR, but it's now becoming possible. And, for me, if that's still going to be a discussion and still, going to be a thing, then I would much rather leave it up to the referee's naked eye. It's much easier to accept mistakes then than it is when so much technology is around it, because when referees make mistakes, it was just that what they seen in that moment. And, we go out in football parks and make mistakes all the time. So they were no different, and it was easier to accept. But now that you have technology and so many cameras that they have all angles, and they have a second referee that's watching the game from a telly, then it just makes it that bit more difficult, I think.
Okay, Chris Bascom, please.
Hi, Andy. Hi, mate. James Milner actually said he was falling out of the game on Saturday. I mean, is it as extreme as that? Where is it hard to enjoy football at the minute? I mean, obviously the fans is one thing, which they'll be back soon, but just the micro analysis of every incident. You can't even celebrate a goal now. You have to wait 5-10 minutes. Is that affecting the players, you think?
Look, it's affecting the players, but I think it's more, affecting the whole game. When, even when fans are back in, and then they can, like you said, they celebrate goals. And, I used to love going to football games and just, being in that moment and being able to just, celebrate a goal, or, being able to watch the game. And I think that's just taken out the game a wee bit. I think, like you said, you're waiting sometimes 2-3 minutes to see if the goal's onside or offside. And, for me, if it's that tight, then, leave it to whatever decision they've made. So, look, there's lots of things you can go, but, Millie's, caption or whatever on his tweet, I think was, echoing what a lot of, never mind footballer, I think a lot of football fans are feeling. I think a lot of people that I've spoke to aren't enjoying watching football as much as they once did, because, it's constantly in review, it's constantly on a screen, and you're still not getting, the consistency that we maybe, we're looking for. So, look, for me, I agree with Millie. I agree with what he's saying, and I think a lot of footballers and a lot of fans would agree also. And it's important not to, because football is a great game. It's a great game which we fell in love with and still are in love with, and it's important we don't lose that fact, because I'm all for change. I know times change, and I know we have to move with the times, but it's important to remember the key values of football and the key values of our sport, which made us fall in love with. And I think it's important to keep that in our minds.
Okay, and final question from Paul Joyce, please.
Sorry, that was the same questions that Dave and Chris have asked, so early finish.
Okay, thanks very much,
Paul.
everyone. Done for today. Thank you.